buddy. Ready?
Yep.
All right. Welcome back, guys, to another Flyby conversation. If you don't know us, this is the Flyover State of Film podcast. Usually, is more than two guys talking over each other, and we have topics and what a movie. But we have this little subdivision, a subgenre of our podcasting network, the Flyover State
Yeah.
of Films, and where we just sit together, two boys, two bros, and talk about two movies that we really enjoyed. The last time I sat with this beautiful baby over here,
How you doing,
um,
babies?
Joe Shandango, my buddy, we talked about our shared love for Nick Cage, and we
Yeah.
talked, yeah. So how to follow up Nick Cage, but with
I would.
with the ephemera that is Pauly Shore, uh,
With cheese
the
sand.
the weasel.
I
Because
mean,
it's like he had like I want to say like a 5 year run, and where
oh yeah. So
he was like a collapsing star that nobody could just like an
Paul,
actual star, a sun
Paul,
in the sky would just imploded, and then he just vanished. But for those 5 years, man, that sunshine that he shed upon our skin and our bodies was
I
so warm.
know, I know. We weird way too much about Pauly Shore. But now, like Nick Cage, I'll talk to you how Nick Cage is great. This is not that podcast.
Mm,
This is just both Jusef and I were like, oh, we grew up watching the same shitty Pauly Shore movies and found them fun when everyone else hated them.
yeah,
But like, yeah, Pauly Shore, and we were both too young to like watch him do his like MTV thing, but he got
yeah,
popular being like, I guess like a
yeah.
hype, like
We should say, yeah. He started off well. Obviously, everybody knows now that he's like the son of Mitzi
yeah,
Comedy Store, but he became like extremely famous, especially for the young crowd, because he was an MTV VJ from like 80 something to
yeah.
90.
He was like the hype man to VJs who would be at like the beach. He was like the spring break guy,
Yeah,
and uh that's really where he started, and then they gave him movies, and I think his first one we're talking about, or his first big one was Encino Man, and then it was
yep,
Son-in-Law. So today we're talking about Encino Man and Biodome.
yeah.
Uh
And I feel like it's the perfect pairing because, like I said, it's a 5 year span. There's this like flash of light that was Pauly Shore in Hollywood,
and
and
he's
it's kind of
still
bookend by Encino Man and Biodome, which is
and
arguably good.
he's oh, I'm sorry, he's still, because I've heard him on podcasts throughout the few years. He's still like, he's a kind of a sad boy these days. He's clamoring
Oh, he's
still
sad.
to the, well, yeah, I'd say he just like, he has the store,
Well, I
and
mean,
he's
with
just
the
very much,
pandemic,
yeah, he's just very much on the brink of always talking about how much fun movies were to me. That's his ever state.
I mean, yeah, it's I understand to a certain extent because he was in his what 21 when 2021 when all this
Early.
exploded for
It's like,
him.
because before we get into Encino Man, I briefly want to just mention the only movie that's available on your major subscriptions like Hulu, Prime, Netflix. It's on Prime. It's Pauly Shore's directorial debut called Pauly Shore is Dead from
Yeah.
2003. I remember this movie. I watched it because it was on the Dodgeball DVD trailers. And the only
Wow.
reason, don't watch that movie. But the only reason to watch that movie is he pulled favors from every celebrity. Like Sean Penn shows up in that movie as Sean Penn. You have Paris Hilton. He got favors from every celebrity he ever met to do a cameo in his movie.
Which is
Not one
I,
really
I
joke in it, but
I didn't see the movie. Does Sean Penn accuses him of stealing his personality from Fast Time at Richmond High?
no, he can't remember his name.
Okay, but yeah, because I've heard in the past people accuse Pauly Shore of, but I mean that's not a fair accusation because like the dumb California stoner
Yeah, he
is
was like a.
such a stereotype.
I mean, and that
But
personality was. I wish we were talking for a minute about Son-in-Law because that personality is the most on display in Son-in-Law because they were just like, be weird Cali kid who corrupted this Trump girl.
okay, so with that with that intro out of the way, so
Yeah.
let's talk about 1992 Encino Man, which is like I would argue the apex of Shore's sexuality and um, sex appeal as an actor. You have his
Yeah, and
ear clothes, his hair, he's tan, he's young.
he's charming,
Yeah. So
like
this one is directed by Les Mayfield. You may recognize him from directing Flubber, Miracle on 34th Street, and a personal favorite, Blue Streak. So the dude
whoa,
has, yeah, the dude
one of
has
my
some
favorite movies of all time.
The dude has some credits, and it's written by Sean Sheps, and she's famous for also writing Son-in-Law and Drumline. But fun tidbit, and the only reason I'm mentioning this here is because in Encino Man they showed this movie. She's Nancy from the Terminator, like, and Terminator shows in this movie.
Oh, that makes sense now. There's a lot of there's like Terminator jokes in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of Terminator jokes in this movie. The cast, Brendan Fraser, another actor that holds a special place in my heart. Sean Astin from Goonies, Lord of the Rings. Robin Tooney, which is just beautiful, a beautiful actress from The Craft. Michael DeLuise, he's the bad guy in this movie, and I know him from
Yeah, what's he from? I was trying to figure that
Wayne's
out.
World. Wayne's World. He's one of the crew from Wayne's World.
Yes.
And the teacher from the high school is the guy from the Burbs, which I fucking love. Rick
Oh yeah.
Ducommun. I don't know.
He's fun. He's in Blank Check too.
Yeah, he's such a hilarious actor, but he died early in his
He's
life.
also in Pauly Shore is Dead, probably one of his last roles.
That's a sad statement. So last before we go into the movie, I wanted to say I was surprised because one I was trying to wrap my brain around Pauly Shore's rise to fame because there was a lot of like obscure comedy in the '90s, and I think it was kind of like America's reaction to their state of politics and all that stuff, the wars that were going on with Bush Senior and the scandals with Clinton.
Yeah, it's a very
So
90s
comedy,
comedy.
yeah.
It's like a
But
very like blot test of comedy and
yeah, we
like
had
it's
like
hyperactive.
we had this guy at Carrot Top and Andy Dick
I
and
mean, the one to rise above the ranks of instead of impressionism, and my favorite comedy of all time is Dumb and Dumber, but uh is Jim Carrey, right? Like Jim Carrey could have been stuck as Carrot Top if you looked at Jim Carrey from the 80s.
yeah. So like quantum physics, we say that we understand what's happening, but we really don't. Physicists cannot fully say that they understand quantum physics, so I cannot state that I understand Pauly Shore's fame, but I do understand why they gave him more movies after Encino Man because this movie was made for $7 million and it profited and it made $40 million at the box office. So it was like super profitable. And we'll get into Biodome and later and see the
Yeah,
bookends.
I just pulled up
But
his IMDb because I was curious of
but
this is, I will say, look, he was in shit, but Encino Man being Stony is
yeah,
the
this is his.
first movie that definitely gave a studio confidence to give him Son-in-Law a year later. And
Yeah,
Son-in-Law was a hit.
and I would, yeah, it was another hit. I think it made 36, and it was also made for roughly the same budget. So it was another hit. So he had back-to-back hits.
Mhm.
And what arguably crashed and burned him was in the army now. He cut off his hair. He didn't look like the classic Weasel, and the movie sucked too. So that's
Yeah,
yeah.
him, Lori Petty, Andy Dick, and the Army. Now you mentioned that was one of the ones where that was a blockbuster rental a lot, just because I knew him as like that's funny, Pauly Shore. But that was like it.
All right.
Like,
So let me summarize. Yeah,
Sorry.
let me summarize Encino Man, and then I can let you take the lead in your first thoughts. The movie's pretty straightforward. We're in California. Sean Astin is building his own pool in his backyard with his friend Stoney, aka the Weasel. And we have a stormy night. They uncover a frozen caveman in their pool. They thaw him out. Brendan Fraser walks out. They give him a cool haircut, and now he becomes a high school student. And pretty much is a high school come of age story where Sean Astin is a stalker creep trying to hit on a girl that has a boyfriend, and he carries around for some fucking reason a photo of them naked when they were kids and a caveman. That's pretty much it. That's Encino Man.
Yeah, that's the
So
movie. Really,
what was your thoughts on Encino Man?
Encino Man's great. I'm trying to see when Brendan Fraser made this. So this was very much of Brendan Fraser's first deal too, and I would say it's interesting because Pauly Shore is not the lead of this movie, right? That's
right.
like
So
but he definitely, except for Brendan Fraser, who truly overshadows the comedy of everyone, Sean Astin becomes an afterthought. Like I honestly don't think he's very likable in this movie.
He's horrible in this movie.
Ever. Like, they never do any. Stoney is. They make him, okay, like, you're fun. I get why people like Pauly Shore. But movie as Encino Man itself, it's just a really fun movie. Like, if you let yourself believe what transpires,
yeah,
it's like, okay, like, they're just having fun with the caveman. They're bopping around. There's a minor conflict. No one cares.
No.
You really are there, just corny to say, for the ride of the movie. There's some good jokes in it. It's a fish out of water tale.
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about that, and it's funny that Brendan has like multiple comedies that way, like Blast from the Past and
Blast from the
George
Past.
of the Jungle, and another one where he's like just like out of like a fish out of water, just like reacting to the environment.
One of the worst movies I've ever seen. Probably came out right after this, called The Scout or The Prospect. There's a baseball movie where he goes to play for the Yankees with him and Albert Brooks, and it's a fish out of water. I think it's called The Prospect or The Scout, and
like
basically,
the Scout, I'm seeing,
it basically Brendan Fraser plays like an Islander. Yeah, I know, right? Real whitewashing casting. An Islander who's like the greatest baseball player this guy's ever seen, and brings him to New York to pitch for the Yankees. It's awful. Do not watch it. But it's a fish out of water movie. It's clearly like, and they do kind of the same thing they do in Encino Man with it, where they have him like freak out over really stupid shit and he can't talk. Right? Clearly, Hollywood did not know what to do with Brendan Fraser except for like, be dumb.
Yeah, and I was looking at his IMDb, and he appears as uncredited in Son-in-Law and in the Army now as Link. There's like cameos.
Intertwined. Anyway, back to Pauly Shore.
Yeah, so before Marvel had an interconnected universe, there was the Pauly Shore universe. Fun fact.
So Pauly Shore and Encino Man also is like, they went full. I mean, I know that's how he dressed, but like, he just consistently always dressed like Steven Tyler.
Yeah, he's like a very. I liked him so much in this movie because he's more like a free, quirky, free-spirited, quirky, hippy dippy dude that just had like he's not as specifically dumb or destructive or annoying
No,
or
they didn't. I think Pauly Shore probably would have had a better career
if
if
he
they
stayed
never,
this.
yeah, if
Yeah.
they never let him be the leading man.
Yes, that's what I when when you said like Pauly Shore is not the lead, I said like rightly so because this is like the the best example I can come up with, to compare it to is like the Minions. Like the
Yeah,
Minions were like fine, like in the background every now and then, a couple of jokes to pepper in between the moments, and then they give him their own fucking movie, and everybody was like, "What the fuck? This is annoying."
he is because he's very likable in this movie. Like it's the one of and he's likable in Son-in-Law too. Like Son-in-Law is not a bad movie if you go watch Son-in-Law. Like go watch Son-in-Law. But there's more going on in Son-in-Law. He has the dad to play off of. It works once, right? You throw that
Yeah,
character in a setting where he's destructive. It works once.
yeah.
I've never seen Jury Duty,
No, I haven't
uh,
seen
but
Jury.
and then I think there's another one called Adopt It where he tried to do shit in. I'm sure it's really racist. Um, but anyway, but Encino Man. I don't
I
know.
found
It's
it.
very.
I
I love
found
the
it
'90s.
wholesome. I found it. I found it wholesome. I found it like I was worried revisiting it because Biodome I had seen as an adult.
I think the
Encino Man lived as a kid in my head.
Okay, I think in Encino Man, like if you're like, uh, I don't know, if someone wants to be like the PC police with it, I think they the F word once, and
I don't know. You cut out. Good point, Joe. But we want to say it again.
I said not to be like the PC police here, but I think the only thing that you're like, if you're looking for something that doesn't, I think they use the F word like once in it, once or
Yeah,
twice,
no. And even though
but
there's
it's
like obviously there's sexual themes because they're teenagers, there's not over. It's not
no,
over
it's
sexual. Um, there's no. There's a few moments that are iffy, but there's no moments that are like, not to coin this word, but because I hate the term, but like cancel culture wouldn't come after it
yeah, me
because
too.
like there's nothing in this movie that I
Well,
would go like, whoa, what the fuck?
there's a point in it too. Also, I like we're talking about the actual movie is the love interest character. She treats Sean Austin how everyone else should treat Sean Austin, like fuck off.
Yeah,
And then like she's not. I feel like until the very 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 last minute, they're not really like you're her prize. She's like, nah, I want to go with Link.
dude, that scene was painful. Like he's like, oh, I'm using my only call because they're in jail. All right, we should backtrack a little bit because this is kind of like a summary slash
Well,
review.
no. Hold on. I want to piggyback on this because
Go ahead.
they're flybys.
I'm hearing
This is such a pet peeve in a movie about prom. People know their prom dates for months on end.
you. Yeah,
I
especially
hate,
somebody that's in an active relationship.
yeah, in movies and TV shows, they'll ask them like a week before, like, you want to go to prom?
Yeah,
And
it's stupid.
I'm like, yeah, maybe a school dance where you don't need a date. But like proms are very like you need a date, you like register you and your date like it's a wedding.
Yeah.
Especially at I'm sure the high school in Encino.
No, yeah, and I also have like a pet peeve of, and they don't do this as much now, but like How I Met Your Mother is like a great example of the guy that is perceived as a good guy, but is really like a stalker asshole and very
Sean Astin.
manipulative. And Sean Astin in this movie is like so goddamn manipulative.
He's
And the scene in the prison is the best example. He's like, I'm wasting my only call on you. You have to say yes to my prom proposal. And she's
you know what
like, nah, I want to go
yeah.
out with Link. I was like, God damn, that's
And you
brutal. That's
and you know what
awesome.
I love you know what joke works in that scene too? The guys they meet at the bar that bail them out.
Yeah,
and they're just like fully like having fun with Link and Stony.
and Stony, yeah.
That kills. No, the movie's a ton of fun. I except for, I'll say it. We were saying it. Sean Astin's the only part that doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, and it's like if the Goonies kid grew up to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, I'm sorry, that was so much pool dug out.
yeah,
He'd be
how big are you gonna
jacked.
make how big are you gonna make that pool?
Have you ever dug like a minor hole? It's exhausting.
Yeah, I helped my dad over the summer build a fountain in the backyard, and my hands were like blistered up the fuck out, and it was like maybe four
Sean
by
Astin
yeah.
would make the team as Rudy if he worked out like that, digging
Yeah.
that hole. Like
What was your
so
what was your favorite scene? My favorite scene, and it's just because of the practical effects of it, and I miss those type of stupid dumb stunts, is the drive it sequence when they flip the car sideways.
and he's like, oh, I've never seen driving like that.
Yeah.
Uh I'm a really big fan. I'm just a sucker for these scenes of like the makeover montage
Oh
in the
yeah.
mall. It's a really fun one in this one, and
I love his hair. I love like they kept kind of the dreadlock shitty hair, because obviously caveman wouldn't have great hair, so it's kind of like a mix between classic dreadlocks and just shitty fucked up hair from the past. I love this
it,
hair.
well, this movie oozes like
It has like
the
four montages.
90s, right? Like, yeah, well,
It has like four
that's a good.
montages with great 90s movies. Like the is there anything more 90s than I'm too sexy for my shirt
Yep,
as a montage music?
and I mean, I want to compare this to what we just taught. This will probably get released before our Flyover episode, but I compare it to like talking about like something like The
Fuck you,
Pest.
TJ. Yeah.
Uh, they both are trying to go for this, and so is Biodome.
Yeah.
The Pest is trying to go for that same aesthetic these movies both had, and fails miserably. Just to throw it out there, but
Yeah.
no, Encino Man has a lot of heart, and I like that you brought up before we mentioned quickly like a great double feature would have actually been this been a good flyby is Encino Man and Blast from the Past.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And both are, you know, I wouldn't call Encino Man today funny. Funny. I've laughed a couple of times. Especially like with Pauly Shore was the funniest moment for me when the dad is like, "So, how's your mom?" And he's like, "Oh, she's super depressed. Can you pass the peas?" That's that moment. I don't know why it made me laugh so much.
I
But
I
Blast from the Past is also wholesome with more comedic elements, I would
oh
argue.
yeah, I think both. Even today, especially like if you're really like had a soft spot for both, would be great hungover comfort food movies.
Oh, 100%. And also like to even slam Sean Austin's character even more, um and praise both Link and Stony, is the sequence when he's like trying to kick him away because the girl wants to go to the prom with him,
He
and
kicks away like a
Stony's
dog.
yeah, like a fucking dog. He just gives him like pocket change and says like "fuck off." And Stony like legit calls him out on it, and he's like being like a good friend. And they get
Well,
into a fight, and Link separates them.
it's weird. It's weird. It's the weird part about it is every time, and this is the Pauly Shore cast for this one, Paulywood. Um, um, every time that kind of has that, and Sean Astin has this like, very selfish attitude. Stoney's always want to be like he's a human still. Like you
Yeah,
found him, but he has rights. Is
yeah.
a conversation.
Stony legit is I mean, Link is also the heart, but Stony is the heart of that movie. Like he turns him into a second Stony, and also I love the ending where they reveal which is the ending is arguably like it's like, almost like they hit fast forward. They were the studio told them you cannot go over 90 minutes, and they were
And
like, "Fuck, all right, we're gonna
she,
do high school dance. Everybody knows the dance for some fucking reason. Sean Austin for some fucking reason gets the girl. Cave woman appears, makeover. She's hot. Kiss. The end. It's like
she
five
comes
minutes.
out of nowhere. But what's funny as shit is, and surprising like this was a hit, is Stoney does a thing where he sets it up for a sequel.
Yeah.
Right? He has that line, like a "We'll be back" line.
Yeah, but I
What was
think
it?
they did Encino Woman, but it was like a TV movie, and it has nothing to do with it, but like it's the
They
same
use the
premise, but it's a woman.
branding, yeah. No, that's definitely one of those things that happened, and Pauly Shore, Brendan Fraser were probably like, "Yeah, I'm not coming back for that."
Yeah.
And Sean Astin was like, "I'll do it."
Yeah, no, Sean Austin was prepping for. No, this is 92. It's long
92.
ways from Sam.
Yeah,
Um, long way
So
from Lord of the Rings. So, do
I
you have anything else for Encino?
yeah, I do. I think with that ending, it's it's just a nice, neat bow.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to be. I don't need logic in Encino Man because there is no
no,
logic.
we're jumping. We already jumped the shark by accepting the premise that a frozen
Oh, you know
caveman
what?
can just come back to life
You know what's
instantly.
this has to do with Encino Man and Biodome. Just one thing I noticed watching both is, did people just go to like 7-Elevens and get just like big gulps and Slurpees as their like drink? Like, do you ever go to a convenience store to get a giant soda or like slushy?
Yeah, when I was younger,
No, when you were younger. I'm talking about now.
now, but no, but this is like the well,
No,
yeah,
it's what
every
people
now and
did.
again. Every now and again, I would buy beer or a slushy or something like that from the convenience store.
I mean, beer.
Especially
I'm
if
talking.
I'm on a road trip. But as a high schooler like them, I would legit go to gas stations because I used to skateboard when I was younger, and we would go to the gas
Okay,
station
that
all the
makes
time.
sense. I just, except if I'm on a road trip, I never get like a big gulp.
Yeah, no.
Right, that's what I
Uh,
like. They had a big gulp in this movie or something close. The icy.
yeah, that is very Americana. That is very That was the United States in my head, watching it, from afar. In movies, like every single fucking movie, they show like the gas station is the place to be. I guess the burritos and all that shit.
I
Um,
ain't eating any gas station burritos.
yeah.
Maybe in
But yeah,
Texas.
I don't even remember if we do ratings for we for this
I
movie.
mean, if flybys are what we want them to be, buddy.
Yeah, but
But
buddy.
what?
Um. So, no, yeah, Encino Man's like a solid 6 out of 10. Just like comfort
Yeah, I'm
food.
right there, like 6.3. I'll put my cards on the table. I can't rate Biodome the next movie because it's that nostalgic and ingrained.
Yeah, no, that was that good. Thank you for saying that because
Like
I
it's
was gonna
something
say
where
that.
like
I was
I
gonna say
know.
that our next thoughts on this movie are drenched, but like excessively drenched in nostalgia from our childhoods because
So
I have no clue how many times I watched this movie as a
I'll
kid.
give the before we talk about like how we why we love why we shouldn't say love why we are nostalgic for Biodome and our memories of this as growing up. I'll just give the plot synopsis real quick because it's like 3 sentences. Um,
Let me set it up first. So, Biodome 1997. So this is kind of like what we said, like in the bookend of his career or peak. Directed by Jason Blum. Nothing of note after this. It has 5 fucking writers for some fucking reason. None of them, like all of them, became like producers and blah blah blah. But only one of them had like a writing career, and he wrote Last Action Hero and PCU. So that's something, I guess. And the cast is William Arthurton from Ghostbusters, Kylie Minogue from Kylie Minogue.
Oh, I have comments about all of this.
Yeah, Joey Lauren Adams from Chasey Adams, Rose McGowan, you know who she
The
is.
first appearance of Tenacious D.
Dude, yes, I have that fucking note. And Stephen Baldwin from my Jersey Devil pitch in Urban Legends episode. Go watch that. That's a good pitch. And of course, Pauly Shore. Go ahead. Give us the
All right, so
budget was $8 million and it only made 13, so it
yeah,
barely broke
it's
even.
this. All right, so I need to get into all that other extra stuff that he said. It looked like this and that. Like I said, I know way too much about this movie. But the plot of it is two idiots, and they truly are idiots, and they're not brothers, but they try to make you seem like they are brothers. They're not.
There's like a flashback where it kind of seems they're brothers, but yeah, no, they're
Yeah,
not.
they're not. I've thought that for years. They're like, this is my take on it. Is Pauly Shore's mom basically took in Stephen Baldwin, and
The hell is that?
sorry, you heard the scream or two.
Yeah.
I should check on it. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Are you okay? Literally nothing. All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
So all right.
They took him in.
Okay.
Going too. We are keeping it raw, baby.
All right, raw. Keep it in. No, so they're not brothers. Nothing to do with that. Their girls are like, we want to be in the environment, and they plan to meeting them out at a place that's a dump, and they end up in this experimental place that looks like a mall that they think to take a piss.
They think they look like a mall.
Yeah, and it's not. It's a science experiment that's keeping. They need to keep homeostasis for 1 full year, Earth Day to Earth Day.
Yeah.
To see if they could artificially sustain life. These scientists.
Yeah.
But in Doyle, Pauly Shore and Baldwin, they get trapped in there, and the doors are sealed. They're not let out, and they kind of become national celebrities. And they destroy the place, and
they try to rebuild it. And that's the movie.
And then they rebuild it, and then that's really the movie.
So before you jump into your shit, fun fact: this happened in real life. 1989 is called the Biosphere 2. It happened in Arizona, and it was a complete disaster because they ran out of, just a couple of things, including oxygen, So it failed because they didn't have oxygen. So yeah, I think it's essential for keeping an atmosphere alive. But go ahead.
So you needed oxygen, so this wouldn't work. I'm glad I know that now. No, so I remember this movie as, so it was 96 actually. So yeah, 97. We had the VHS, and it was one of the more I was talking about how my parents kind of let me watch what I wanted to when it came to comedies like Austin Powers and things some kids weren't allowed to watch. Biodome was one that I'm pretty sure a friend, a friend of a friend, like a brother's friend or something, left at our house, and then it was ours. And I watched the fuck out of this VHS tape. I watched it because I'm not. What are you? What am I, 6? Not even.
Yeah.
And I'm not critical on comedy. This is hysterical. This is.
I mean, yes.
Two guys, it's like skit after skit. I didn't get the weed humor. I'm like, oh, that's what Purple Sticky Punch is. Pauly Shore is fucking shave Poochie Poochie. Them fucking everything in the movie had me dying, and I have affinity for it to this day.
As a kid, I legit thought that you can tell what people ate based on their farts. I was like, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Yep. Bacon cheeseburger. It's and it's weird. Obviously, as a kid, you don't pick up their weird like homoeroticisms they have
Yeah.
of like maybe it goes both ways. I don't know, but we do.
We do.
Uh, and like,
So, but the
I
one
mean,
that I wanted to tell you, like, give you my background is, in my school, I posted a picture on my Twitter. Go to my Twitter and subscribe. I post every once a week or something like that, so it's premium content. But at my school, every Tuesday of the first Tuesday of the month, we will get out early because faculty meetings. My uncle would pick me up. We would go to Blockbuster. We would rent 3 movies. We would eat hot dogs and watch movies, and then my mom would pick us up after she left work. And I cannot honestly tell you how many times because I would varied my picks. I've been a cinephile since I was a kid. Okay, I would vary my picks, and then I would always pick one that I knew I loved. And Biodome was so many times. I was like, okay, there's 2 new movies that I haven't seen, and Biodome would be like so many times in my rotation. It was ridiculous.
I downloaded. This is talking about like I remember I downloaded like when first like in like Kaza like before what LimeWire like now I downloaded that Spider-Man rock song they play in it when they're bungee jumping in the
Yeah.
montage. But little notes about this, and that's sort of nostalgia. You mentioned Kylie Minogue. If you read
Yeah.
the trivia, this is the only thing she has regrets of her career. She always notes. Apparently her dad like almost disowned her for doing
Oh,
this movie.
that's too
Something
hard.
like that.
It's
Not yeah,
not
it's
that bad.
harsh.
I
But it's
mean,
her
Pauly,
regret.
she lets Pauly Shore grab her ass pretty tightly, but Pauly Shore was
Was it
getting ass in the '90s, so it's.
Stephen Baldwin was told career suicide, and it kind of was for him until he was given a shot to do Usual Suspects.
Mm. Oh wow!
Um,
But I mean, it's careers. Every single Baldwin was career suicide for being a brother of Alec. Like,
yeah,
there's no Baldwin that reached any level of Alec. But I
but
wanted to say, fun fact, which threw me off the entire movie. They call him Squirrel instead of Weasel in this movie,
yeah,
and
squirrely
there's
stub.
one scene only where they do a flashback to the first time they threw farts, and they're like dressed up weirdly, and that's the only scene that they call him Weasel, and the rest of the
The
movie
weed
he's
so
Squirrel. Yeah.
sniffs. Yeah, yeah. You're right because it was squirrely. It's squirrely stub. I don't know. Maybe they were like because shaved. He has his shaved head clearly not being able to grow his hair out back from in the army now.
Yeah, I bet he regretted that so hard.
Oh, I'm sure because
He had
I,
amazing hair. He had amazing hair, and then obviously, life happens, and he has more of a. And I guess I don't know, man. 5 years doing drugs and alcohol and being a millionaire
so
really
I
fucks
still
up your body. But there's a drastic change between '92 Shore and '97 Shore. Like,
yeah.
he's pudgier. He's like a little bit bloated,
Hmm.
receding hairline, and
He's older.
it's like drastic
They
to watch
bite.
it.
They bite each other's toenails.
Yeah, it was not. He's very flexible, though. I'll give him that. He's
Yeah.
extremely good for him.
Uh, yeah. He's still not getting Joey Lawrence Adams. I still don't understand that.
No, dude. Okay, okay, okay. If things that we don't understand, what do you think? Are you a yogurt? If you were a yogurt, would you be fruit at the bottom or would you be stirred? What the fuck does that mean to you?
Eh,
Because that
Stirred?
you're a stirred yogurt.
I don't know. Yeah,
So
like what is?
So comment down below, the millions of people that are gonna watch this because this is the episode that is gonna plateau us to,
Yeah, them
like
Pauly Shore content. Pauly
how.
Shore's Pauly Shore's gonna watch this. You know he goes on YouTube every day typing Pauly
Dude,
Shore
I legit
relevant.
hope. I legit hope you're watching Polly and tell you
We
like there's
like
good
you,
news
Pauly.
here. We love you. Stop being sad about your career. It happened. Enjoy it, and now just
You
do
know
other
what?
shit.
He had something go viral a couple years ago. He plays a great Stephen Miller. That
Oh yeah,
terrible Trump babe.
SNL. No, it was
No,
Funny or
Funny
Die.
or Die.
Funny or Die. Funny or Die.
He's
SNL.
on Your Mom's House every now and then. I think he was on recently.
I mean, yeah,
Anyway,
everybody loves him. He's Mitzi's kid. But yeah,
he's
I think this is my theory that yogurt at the bottom is like a quiet,
I
reserved person, and a stirred one is just like a wild person.
yeah.
That's
I
why I think
have a
like the girl says like I'm at the bottom, but I'm waiting to get stirred.
yeah,
It's a
she's
good it's a good line.
I have a I have a confession.
Go ahead.
For years on end, I not years. I thought Willem Dafoe was the villain.
Oh
Was
my god. No, this is from Ghostbusters. Would
I
you
know
trust a doctor scientist with a mullet? Would you really give him $100 million to build a biodome?
Dr. Fauci would.
Dr. Fauci. Yes, that's
Uh,
fucking Dr.
but
Fauci.
this movie has some weird. This movie like so. There's two things to note in this that are
Holy
so weird.
shit, dude, this movie is weird as fuck. Especially
So
the
there's
German Nazi saluting scientists
all
in the
right
beginning.
that yeah I didn't you sent me a screenshot of that today and the millions of times I've watched this I've never noticed. The other thing that's super the intro's weird, right? That like acid washed
Oh, like 3 minutes and
like
nonstop.
three
Yeah.
minute
Nope.
like bad grunge song ransom letter graphic intro doesn't make sense, doesn't match the movie.
Nope.
Other thing, and it kills me to this day, and it's something I appreciate it more as the older I've gotten, is the subplot of the killer clown that robbed the killer clown subplot on the TV.
Yeah.
Hysterical.
Yeah, that's funny.
And Bob, the delivery, like the loser, like stepfather delivery guy.
Yeah. I miss him.
Yeah, he passed recently.
Yeah, he's cousins with George Clooney.
Did not know that. Yeah, I remember when he passed, and I had like this terrible. But I was like, oh, that guy from Biodome.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. But it's the movie.
Taylor Negron.
Yes, I think you and I watching it have the affinity for it. I think if you do not have any sort of relationship to it of growing up, it's not for you. You're not gonna get it. Like
Well, I disagree in a sense that after the movie like it bombed, it was a horrible like supposedly career disaster,
Mhm.
but it now has this huge cult following around it.
Yeah, it
Um,
has Freddy Got Finger vibes.
yeah. Also, fun fact: Taylor Negron is half Puerto Rican.
I can see it.
Um. So, but yeah, it has a cool following now. Kind of like the
I'm
Room
part of that
era
cult.
shit, where like more and more people are coming to it,
I
especially people that are looking for and obviously not to get too political, and it's barely a political statement, but in the state that we're living in right now, more and more people are looking for absurd and
absurdist.
out of
Absurdist is
yeah, just
fun.
like disconnecting from the fucking world. Even though this movie deals with environmental issues,
I
it's more like a fucking crazy movie.
I still say to this day, like sometimes no one ever gets it. I don't say that I'm a Sherman tank when he's running out the door at the end. Um, no, now I'm in charge. Uh, but yeah, and I think this movie has a great use of a ticking clock. The computer,
Yeah, yeah.
the computer telling you where you're at with homeostasis. Uh,
And the year literally ticking down.
my favorite part of it has always been, I guess it's combined. It's the party when they
Yeah.
do break free and they're able to have the party in the biodome, and it's
Dude, a
wild.
key.
And then the aftermath of that, and then cleaning up the biodome,
Dude, in the oh
making a
yeah, the montage of
filter, making a filter.
the montage of the cleaning is probably the best part. But in the party, the douche bros have a line that I don't know why it just made me laugh so fucking hard. Is like, I would strangle a dolphin to get into her pants, and
Yeah.
that just made me laugh so fucking hard.
That and something I noticed late. I'm jumping around a lot here, but something I noticed,
No,
like there are a lot of jokes I noticed later. So when they, they break into, they find all like the snack food, and they're just taking the
yeah,
nitrous,
the
the
hopping.
laughing gas, and he's
I
like,
love that scene as a kid.
I'm Dennis Hopper, Blue Velvet,
Yeah,
slow and steady,
I'm a
and
horny man. I'm a horny man.
I'm like, I always just thought that was that scene, and then knowing Blue Velvet, I'm like, that scene's kind of fucking great.
Yeah. Watch that. That movie's legit good. Why I Love Movies.com. I made a review. It's a very good movie. The other scene that I love because they give them because they're fucking dumb people. I don't know if we've stated that. And
They're
they
not
destroy
like in
everything.
They're not in like Dumb and Dumber where like Lloyd and Harry have like heart and are like not that dumb.
No, they're
Like
just
they're able to drive across
straight out,
country.
straight up
Like
dumb.
Bud and Doyle are dumb.
But when they were pitching to get weed into the ecosystem, they have like legit good
Yeah.
points. They're
Purple
like,
Sticky Punch.
yeah, we can make paper. It makes a good rope. It has great oxygen levels when it adds to the environment, and also it can all make us all happy. It's like, yeah, that's a
I'm
great pitch.
sure I'm sure Romulus, the guy from ER in that time, was really happy to be in that movie.
Yes.
Uh
But yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to
Oh,
talk about?
this is one of those ones I could just keep spouting out shit. 'Cause like I said, I've had, and I know it's bad. This is one of those ones I know it's a bad. Nothing that's not bad about it or good about it, but I love it.
No, yeah, it's one of those. If you don't have, like you said, maybe if you don't have the nostalgia goggles, because like Encino Man and this ones were received horribly by the critics, horribly.
But
Like,
people like Encino Man.
yeah, but it was, I'm telling critic wise, like
Oh,
the
critic wise,
critics has
like
always, like, I can't think of another actor that
Pauly
has
Shore.
such a small lifespan, but he's still regarded as like super popular during that short span, and also was hated by critics at the same time. I can't.
Critically, yeah, I don't have one because anyone I could say I could counter with a good movie. Um,
Maybe
I was thinking Kevin James, but I feel
Kevin
like it's
James. Yes, Kevin James.
Hitch, though. I would say people like, but that's not a
It,
Kevin
that's
James movie.
that's not a Kevin James movie. Yeah,
Kevin
Kevin,
James would be the one. Rob Schneider.
maybe.
Uh,
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, Rob Schneider.
but they all lasted. They all found something. It's the weird part about between Kevin James and or Kevin James, Rob Schneider, to Pauly Shore is they've all kind of figured their way out. I mean, hitching their back wagons to Adam Sandler is figuring their way out, but they figured their way out. They've been in fine movies. Pauly Shore just stayed his course and couldn't like
Yeah.
detail out because in that movie, I don't know if this is true or not, and I didn't do any research. In that movie, Pauly Shore is dead. The whole plot of the movie was that he filmed, and I think this might be part of it, that he considered what tanked his career a TV like a failed pilot called like a Pauly Shore show.
Well, he had a TV show that lasted 8 episodes and only 5 aired.
So
And
yeah, so that was the plot of the Pauly Shore is dead, which made him want to fake his death.
yeah,
And as 2003, he was like, "That's what killed my career." Anyway,
that's funny because I heard in an interview that he claims that Army was the one that killed his career. That
that absolutely is, and then
his agents warned him, but Disney strong because he had those movies made were under an umbrella of Disney. Um, Disney strong armed him into making Army.
Army now because they have I'll say probably the only movie that critics like of his, which isn't a movie of his, is a fucking Goofy movie.
Oh, Goofy movie's great. I loved him, and I was
Leaning
like,
Tower
I
of
love
Cheese.
Leland Tyler Cheese.
And he's not credited.
I was like, no,
Uh,
yeah,
I think he's is in his IMDb.
oh no, IMDb, but like in the movie, I believe he's uncredited.
Oh,
because
That's
he's
what it
also
says on IMDb. It says
he's
Pauly
also in
Shore / uncredited.
he's also in the direct sequel, if I'm not mistaken.
Or then I don't fucking know. I mean,
all
that's
right.
definitely part of that Disney contract. But yeah, I don't know. Biodome's one of those ones like I think everyone should give it a shot, but in the sense of I just want to have fun for an hour, 25 minutes and be dirty. Like it's a dirty movie.
Yeah, it's just dumb fun. If you've
And
seen it,
early early Tenacious D. I'd love that. I'd love to know that story.
yeah. Oh yeah, fuck. They were so fucking young, and I remember
Their
them.
first screen
I
appearance.
I I met them. I knew Jack Black obviously, but I met Tenacious D through their show, and I think it's HBO. They had like a brief show that it wasn't great, but that's when I met them, and I thought it was a fictional band. And then it blew my mind that they actually had
Yeah,
records and
sure.
played live
They're
and all
one of
that
those
shit.
band. I know they still do things, and this is important podcast.
Oh,
But
I would
I
legit
wish
want,
they put out more music.
yeah. But
I
when I
like their
saw them,
pacing.
when I saw them in Biodome, I was like, oh fuck, I forgot about
Yeah.
them. I didn't know they were here. But
Biodome's a
yeah,
weird little cultural. Biodome of more than Encino Man is a weird little cultural like landmark of a movie. Like where you're like, fuck, Kylie Minogue's in it. Who like
yeah. I feel like obviously I personally liked in this rewatch obviously Encino Man more, and I would
yeah.
recommend somebody to watch it and meet if they've never met Pauly Shore before.
I'd
Meet him
recommend
through there.
I'd recommend Son-in-Law and Encino Man if you were like, what's something we should watch? I don't know, and you like don't have that stomach for like things that are like quote unquote bad.
Yeah.
Those would be the two. But yeah, in Biodome's dumb fun. By the way, spoiler alert, yeah, they do fix the whole ecosystem at the end of it.
Yeah,
Everything's happy. They get their
I don't
girls.
I don't think people are
But
holding their breath.
they do get a hot horny makeout sesh with the two
yeah.
science babes.
Technically they cheated.
Technically,
They
they should.
absolutely cheated. They were like, "Oh, we have girlfriends,"
We
and
can't
like,
cheat.
so anyway, yeah. So welcome. This has been us talking Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah.
No. So,
Keep your head
uh,
held high.
would you got anything else to say?
No, man. Where can the people find you?
You can find me at Chendinger1 and on all the Flyover episodes, talking about this type of nonsense.
Yeah, if you liked this episode, I don't know why, but if you did, thank you. Check out our flyover episodes. It's basically this, but two other guys talking
Of
over each
us or
other.
the
We have
flybys.
we have fun topics. We also do brackets. We do a bunch of stupid shit. We're bored. But we're having fun.
If you listen this far, you know where to find us.
Yeah, wildlivemovies.com. Bye.
Bye.